Hey, what's going on, guys and gals? Today's program is sponsored by Yingling Premium and Ford. Built Ford tough. They always say Chevy runs deep, but Ford has to pull them out.
Wonderful.
All right, so
This is not a brew review.
No, we're just drinking some Yingling Premium. This is my first. I guess I'm a guest on this program.
You are a guest on WTF.
Even though I manage the whip.
Yeah, we do a little tiny.
But this is GMC's segment.
We do a tiny little show called the Brew Review. You might have heard of it. It's no big deal.
Yeah, people say it sucks.
But anyway, this episode of WTF. This is a good one. I mentioned this in my last video that I'm gonna compare real life to wrestling life.
Or you could also compare it to porn life.
I could, and porn life too. But all right, dog. I'm gonna run a little. You've seen wrestling. You're not a big fan of it.
Yeah, I'm not as big as you and Terry.
Right.
But I mean, I do like the underground shows, much like I like the underground rock shows, which you can check out Silver Tongue and Right Start on our channel.
Independent shows are definitely the best.
Yeah, especially with anything really.
So you're kind of familiar with the way wrestling is.
Yeah, I'm familiar with it
in some ways. Do you know what the term kayfabe means?
Kayfabe.
Kayfabe.
I've heard of kayfed.
Not kayfed, but kayfabe, I explained this in my first video, is when you think that the characters and the storylines are actually the real thing. Best way I can describe it is if Morgus the Maniac that we saw in the indie shows.
Yeah.
You would actually see Morgus and think that he really was this insane asylum escapee.
I get it. Yeah, that's his whole shtick, I guess.
Yeah, you don't.
And then you got sexual harassment who dry humps everybody before he gets in the ring.
Right.
That was freaking hilarious.
You don't think of them as just play acting. You think
sexual harassment probably is not really gay. So.
No, they're not. But that's pretty much what we're going to be discussing tonight. So I'm going to run a scenario by you.
All right.
Okay, let's say somehow I get a hold of your T-Bird.
You ain't getting a hold of my bird.
Somehow I get a hold of your car.
Yeah.
I break into your house somehow, grab the keys, and I take it on a joyride. And without your knowing, of course.
Well, good luck with that. You'll have to move the tempo in the van to get it out.
Yeah, but let's say I do that. And I crash it into a pond or a lake or something. What would be your reaction?
I'd be fucking pissed.
You'd be pissed. And okay, let's say I wasn't your cousin, I was just a complete stranger. What would you do then to me?
Well, it all depends. If the guy's away from the scene, he better keep hiding.
Exactly. Okay. So now I'm gonna.
And well, if I don't know who did it, then I won't be able to.
You'd probably get
my cameras would catch it.
You'd probably get the authorities involved. You would probably handle it through legal action, right?
That's the only thing you can do if you didn't catch them actually in the act.
Pretty much. Okay. Now, same scenario, but in the magical world of wrestling. Everything I just explained happens in that time, in that world. What do you do then?
I don't know.
I'll tell you what you do. You don't call the cops. You don't try and sue the guy. You challenge him to a wrestling match. That, ladies and gentlemen, is what I'm talking about. That wrestling takes these real-life situations and puts them in their storyline. This is a good example. They had a feud between Rey Mysterio and Eddie Guerrero. I don't know if you know who they are, but you'll relate to the whole storyline though. Eddie Guerrero was playing the bad guy.
Yeah.
And he comes out and he says, Ray, when you and your wife were having problems, she came to me and I comforted her. And guess what? Your 8-year-old son, Dominic, he isn't yours. He's mine. And
all right, it sounds like you're getting an episode of Maury here.
Exactly. That's pretty much what this was. So you're now Rey Mysterio. Instead of taking this guy to court, getting a DNA test and everything like that done, they decide we're gonna have a wrestling match, and we're gonna put the documents in this briefcase that give somebody legal custody of this child. We're gonna hang it above the ring, and we're gonna have a ladder match. We're We're going to climb up this ladder and grab this briefcase, and whoever does it first gets sole custody of the child.
Interesting.
Am I the only one that thinks that would not happen? It's completely weird. Because here's the thing. The judge would have to sit there and listen to the lawyer say, like, Your Honor, my client and that client and the opposing client, they have agreed to put this child's life in the hands of their wrestling match. And the judge would say, I am totally down with that. Let it be so. There you go. That's wrestling for you. It makes no sense at all.
This theory totally didn't make no sense. Now, your first theory about someone stealing my T-Bird, that made sense.
Oh, there has been so many storylines that have done this. We've had wrestlers break into people's houses, brutalize the other one. No charges are filed, but they have a wrestling match at the end of it. I know that wrestling is supposed to be this fantastical world that we escape from. We watch TV to escape. And I'm totally down with that. But I would like a little realism, you know? If Triple H breaks into Randy Orton's house and throws him through a window, I would fully expect Randy Orton to press charges. And maybe say, okay, you know what? Forget that. Like, I want him out of the jail because I want to kick his ass. And they've even said this on TV that if I actually arrested you, I wouldn't be able to beat your ass, which I could understand. God, there's been so many others that have been like this. They've had like marriages dissolved in wrestling matches.
I don't know. It just all seems fake to me. That's probably why I'm not really into wrestling, because it's all fake.
It is. They've had matches where a guy, like they had what's called like a pink slip on a pole match, where two guys were wrestling. They had to climb up and grab the pink slip. And normally, if you get the pink slip in a real job, you're fired. But in this case, whoever got the pink slip first, the other person got fired.
Oh,
if that makes any sense at all. What?
Fired from what? Just
fired from their job. I mean, and of course we all know.
Yeah,
that
but we know
fired.
that WWFers, WWE.
WWE.
Sorry, World Wildlife Federation. You know what I'm trying to get at, though. I mean, the wrestlers in the WWE do not have daytime jobs, so to me that don't make sense.
Well,
not unless they're going to get fired from the Federation.
That's pretty much what it is. That they would get fired from their actual job.
But like people from like the House of Pain, however, like the underground leagues we've been seeing, Superstar Wrestling as we have posted on here, you know, they probably have real daytime jobs. They're like the underground bands that we see.
Yeah, and oh god, there's been so many others. The first episode that I talked about with Triple H going through a drive-through wedding chapel and marrying Stephanie McMahon, that would not hold up in court. There would be a precedent against that.
Wouldn't Vince McMahon want to kill him?
Well, yeah, you haven't watched the episode, but you'll understand it when I
Yeah, I'll have to go back and watch through these.
But God, they've had marriage. There was a match in TNA between Kurt Angle and Jeff Jarrett where the custody of Kurt Angle's children were at stake. There was, of course, the infamous Love Her or Leave Her match between Shane McMahon and Test at SummerSlam, where Test was dating Stephanie McMahon, Vince McMahon's daughter.
Yeah.
And, of course, her brother opposed it. Like, you will not date that barbarian wrestler. What the fuck are you thinking? Like, we own a wrestling company, but to date one of those barbarians? Fuck you. And so Shane McMahon's like, I challenge you, Test, to a match where if you lose, you have to stop dating my sister. But if you win, I will back off. I can understand that. But, like, if you take real life situations, you know, somebody...
This could be reality versus TV also.
Exactly.
In general.
Exactly. Somebody steals your car. You don't challenge them to a wrestling match. Somebody makes out with your girlfriend in a bar. You don't challenge them to a cage match.
No, I think the match has already begun if you catch them in the act.
Yeah. Okay. I would hand you a check. It's like, here, sign this check. And you would sign it. And I would say, oh, by the way, I just printed the rest of this out for you. You now owe me $1 million. That wouldn't fly in real life. Now, in wrestling, it might. Because they actually did that. They had, this was in TNA, Eric Bischoff had these papers, had this stack of papers for Dixie Carter, the owner of TNA, to sign. And he's like, here's the termination papers for, I think it was Abyss. And she's like, oh, here. She just signed her name, didn't even bother looking at it. And he's like, okay. And then 2 weeks later, they turn around and say, oh, by the way, Dixie Carter just signed away all shares and all holdings to the company to me. No. That wouldn't happen. A lawyer would have a field day with that. Because she didn't know what she was signing. It's like, I know it's not real, but have a little bit realistic into it. That's all I ask. Somebody assaults, I punch you in the face, and I'm a complete stranger. You're probably going to punch me back, sure.
Let's try it.
But then we're going to get the cops. Then we're going to get the cops involved. But not in wrestling. Then we say, I'm going to challenge you to a match. We're going to have a wrestling match. A cage match, probably. Or a TLC match. I love TLC matches.
Tables, ladders, and chairs. Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I'd rather have a dual ring match like at the Lord of the Rings. That very first match I was at in Newville.
That would be cool. But I'm thinking of other situations because wrestling used to be this complete cartoonish bullshit, and now it's gotten sort of real. But
I thought it went from sort of real to cartoonish bullshit.
It did.
You know, like back in the days of Hulk Hogan, Andre the Giant,
yeah,
Macho Man Randy Savage. Those were the days.
It's gone downhill again.
Now look at Hulk Hogan. You know, going through all his shit. He does those commercials for Rent-A-Center.
He's 60 years old and needs a paycheck.
Yeah, because the wife took half of it.
Yeah. There you go. There's another thing.
Like fucking Linda Hogan.
That's one thing that wrestling and the real world are the same as. The wife will fuck you over.
Oh, she did.
It's happened many times before. But
that was kind of outside the Federation.
Yeah.
You know, that was kind of like a personal deal.
I
wonder if that reality show is what split them up.
No doubt.
What the hell was that called?
Hogan Knows Best.
Yeah, that's it.
I
only saw maybe a couple episodes of it.
I'll probably talk about that sometime.
Yeah, we'll probably do an episode to it, maybe.
But, you know, I'm trying to think here. There was... Oh, well, Steve Austin. Stone Cold Steve Austin beating the shit out of his boss. Not once did Vince McMahon ever fire him for that.
If you beat the shit out of your boss, you're shit out of a job.
Pretty much.
You know?
Get your endeavors ready, because you're going to need them. I'm trying to think of other instances. Something I brought up before with the dumbasses in distress. The good guys that always believe the bad guys, their intentions are well and true. If the bad guy challenges a good guy to a match, and he says, I promise that my friends will not interfere at all. And the good guy is like, I totally believe you. Challenge accepted. And he gets in the ring, immediately you're screaming, it's a trap! Don't trust him! He's a bad guy! And lo and behold, the bad guy's 6 friends come down, beat the shit out of the good guy. He has nobody to blame but himself. It's the same in real life. If we're out at a bar and he challenges some 300-pound gorilla, I'm not going to back him up. Because you chose it, dude. Like, I'll probably say, like, dude, you don't.
I'm not that fucking stupid.
I'll say, dude, you don't want to do this, and you're like, yeah, fuck yeah, I'll be his ass. And I said, okay, there you go.
I was never the one to pick fights, but I hate the people that do.
Yeah.
You know.
If you're ever out with me and you pick a fight, you're on your own.
Well, likewise.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just out to have fun, damn it.
Exactly. So
back to wrestling before we talk about bar stories.
well, they've had bar fights in wrestling a couple times.
Yeah.
So
did they break beer bottles over their heads?
Oh yeah, all the time. So those are just some of the instances that I have with like the real world and the wrestling world, how totally different they are. That if you wrong somebody, the authorities don't get involved, lawyers don't get involved, court systems don't get involved. You just have a wrestling match. In fact, I think wrestling has the smart idea. That would save millions of dollars in lawyer fees.
True.
If you were with a woman, you guys split up, she's with somebody else, she's pregnant, you don't know who the father is, you're fighting for custody, just have a wrestling match.
In the Mari studio.
And just have a wrestling match and decide there. Don't worry about DNA tests. You know? Don't be like, Your Honor, we need blood, hair, skin samples, everything. No, just have a cage match. just have a parking lot brawl. And whoever wins, they're the father. Mari, don't do DNA tests anymore. Just have the guys fight.
Yeah.
Your ratings would spike.
But no, TV wouldn't allow that. That would be like, kind of like Jerry Springer.
Oh no, they'd allow it. It's a wrestling match. And
but TV would edit it like they did with Springer there back in the 90s.
We all know wrestling's fake.
Faker than a stripper's tits.
Yeah. So, there is part of me that I do like to escape into wrestling. I like to sometimes try and believe it's real, damn it, but it's so hard nowadays.
See, I think with the mainstream, they overfake it.
Oh, yeah.
That's my opinion. In the underground, yeah, it's fake, but it does seem more real. Know what I mean?
It's become exposed, is what it is.
Right.
Vince McMahon has literally come out and said, this is how we do it. We are no longer a legitimate sporting event. It would be like going to see, if we go out to Vegas and see a magician perform his show, like Siegfried and Roy or whatever.
Yeah.
They would do their whole, their 3-hour show, and then at the very end, they would have a half-hour segment where, okay, this is how we did everything, This is how we levitated the girl. This is how we made this disappear. That's pretty much what it would be. If you expose it, you don't want to go back and watch it again because the tricks are already known. You go see a magician, he tells you his tricks, you're not going to go see him again because you know how it's done. Same with wrestling. They exposed it, they beat it into the ground, but you got to admit, they still fill every 20,000 seat arena they're in, so they got to be doing something right.
Yeah.
Can't fault them for that. And I am out of beer. I am out of beer. So, yeah.
So this episode is 1 beer old. Awesome.
That was, I know there's so many more out there, and I'll probably get to some more, but that's really my kind of gripe about real world and wrestling world. Just have a little bit of clarity. That's all I ask. And I've been rambling on for probably 20 goddamn minutes. I don't know what I'll be doing. I'll probably get away from WWF for a while. I've done 4 videos of them. Well, just wrestling in general. I'll probably do like a WCW or maybe an ECW or TNA.
It's a shame that those first 2 don't exist.
Yeah, that's probably Vince McMahon's biggest problem. He conglomerated. I can't talk.
We got to talk about. Remember Vince McMahon? He's the one that started up the XFL. Remember that?
We'll do an episode about that.
Yeah, that might be in the coming weeks.
Well, fuck it. You know what? We'll do it anyway. The XFL. Vince McMahon's football league.
What, it only lasted, one season?
It lasted 1 season. he decided that he's going to get into... He already done this before. He tried to do a bodybuilding league.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, that failed. So he decided, I'm going to get into football. Here's the problem I have with the XFL. He promised to have, like, old school football. Like, smash mouth, less penalty flags flying in the air. Like, you get hit, you get right the fuck back up, and you play again. The very first game that they broadcast, there were penalty flags flying all over the place. And I said, this is not what was advertised.
Did you actually watch it?
I did. I gave it a shot because I was a diehard WWF guy, and I wanted to see it succeed. And it turned out to be just football. There was nothing special about it. If the football players were actually like power bombing each other, I could probably see that. But they didn't. It was just regular football between like the same 8 teams for weeks. And it did nothing. It did absolutely nothing. But at the same time, I think I had heard an interview one time where somebody had said the reason Vince McMahon did that is just because he said he could. He didn't lose too much money. He may have lost like $1 million out of it, a couple million, but he's a billionaire.
Oh, well, hell, that's pocket change to him.
Yeah, you lose $20 million on the XFL. Vince McMahon's like, oh well, back to the drawing board. And he'll come up with something stupider. Like a hand puppet show or something. I don't know. That'd actually be kind of funny. I haven't eaten all day, so I'm kind of buzzing on that one beer. I'm a little disappointed in myself. Bit of a lightweight.
Yeah, well, you should have came to the reunion.
I should have. But anyway, that was our very brief rant about the XFL and real world versus wrestling world. And oh my god, wrestling's so stupid. It's so stupid, but I watch it.
You know what's stupid is I had pussy licking me. Okay, that was totally off topic. I'm sorry.
That was weird.
Go on.
That was so weird. So, like I said, I don't know what I'll do for the next vid. I'll have to find something in WCW because they've done a lot of stupid shit.
Until McMahon bought him out.
Until McMahon bought it out. And again, that was the worst thing he could have done. Because...
Or how about the ECW? You gonna do a segment on that?
Oh, ECW does some weird shit. And I'll talk about that. It won't just be like the bad stuff of wrestling. I might even talk about the good side of things. Things that I actually like.
Maybe a Stone Cold episode.
Yeah, some of my favorite matches, some like independent stuff.
I'm surprised you ain't wearing the vest in these episodes.
I wore it in the first 2.
Oh, okay. That'd be like your jester hat in the brew review.
Yeah. Well, you can only see like the tiny little Austin thing, but oh well. But anyway, again, thanks for watching our shit, guys. We really appreciate it. If you like it, let us know. If you don't like it, let us know. We won't listen because we'll keep putting the shit out. If one person likes it, I'm happy. So, thanks to my guest, dog.
Yeah, what's up?
And we'll probably
tune into the brew review every Friday night.
Every Friday night, we'll probably get some more in there soon. So until
That's
then,
what she said.
Yeah,
I had to get that in there. That's what she said.
So anyway, see you later, guys.
All right, peace.